Welcome all to our review show. Today we're reviewing the film Sherlock Holmes. It's the 9th of March 2010. It's just come out, it's brand new. No, it's been out for a bit.
Well, we're from South Africa, so it's not that
new. I'm your host, Tyrone Rubin. This is Grant de Sousa. He's known in Amsterdam as the G-Star. He's known in Zimbabwe as the G-Dog Delicious. He's known as different things around the world, and you'll get to know him as whatever you want.
For different reasons, yeah.
So tell us about the film.
Yeah, as Tyrone said, based on a classic, so a large undertaking for any director. Putting your heart on your sleeve like that for a classic, and bringing it to a generation that might not even know who Sherlock Holmes is or what have you. Robert Downey Jr. plays him, essentially, and the film is set also in a period, late 1800s, Robert Downey Jr. has a case to solve, mysterious sort of case, involving, I think it's black magic or magic arts or very Eastern sort of theme or what have you, and so the film starts off all very sort of mysterious, but once again, according to every sort of one of these type of things, it's almost like Scooby-Doo. They always found like behind the ghost there's always like an oak, with an illusion. That's essentially, in terms of the premise, I think there's just a crime to be solved, and he solves it, as per any one of the older sort of films. I don't know if there's any more.
I think his relationship with Jude Law is a big theme in the film. Sherlock Holmes being single, Dr. Watson, played by Jude Law, who's getting engaged. There's this personal relationship. Look, I found the film very multi-layered. Like I said, it helped not looking forward to the film because I thought it wasn't going to be great. But I
had the opposite.
I
think maybe that's why. Yeah.
I was anticipating the film, as I said, when I found out they were going into production from it. But then when I started seeing the trailer, and they harped on that scene where Robert Downey Jr. hit the big guy, and it was like punted as solely an action film.
Yeah,
I started getting a bit worried that it was going to be just that, an action film, which, unlike Snatch and Lock, Stock, which were quite intelligent films, I think other films of Guy Ritchie's that he did weren't as successful in that respect, like Revolver, and he did Swept Away. I thought they were a little bit weak, but this film I really, really loved. I loved the relationship between the two characters because they had that rivalry. I loved Robert Downey Jr.'s character. He was almost a little bit like House, the television show character, where he used intuition. One of the things about Sherlock Holmes's character is his use of deductive reasoning, and he was one of the first characters to do that, and I think they really portrayed that subtly in the film, in his ability to always be aware of things and preempt things in the film. He was strong, yet he wasn't like built like an action hero. I know what you're saying, it being an action hero, and they compared it to like a character like Superman, but I can only think of positive things to say about the film. I was entertained.
And no negatives, nothing. Surprising. I can't. You always have something negative.
Look, I can't think of anything negative to say about the film because I preempted the film not being a brilliant film. Like I wasn't looking forward to watching it. Like I said, the point that resonates with me, and I know I've said this 3 times, is I was excited when I found out Guy Ritchie was going to do Sherlock Holmes because of this rich material.
But
and then I just thought he failed when I started watching the trailer, but then...
But can I ask you a question? Would you say to a Guy Ritchie fan, go see Sherlock Holmes, or would you say to the general populace, go see Sherlock Holmes?
So far, the people I've interacted with, who either Guy Ritchie fans or the general public, have only said positive things about it, because the film is an action film. I would say if you're a die-hard Sherlock Holmes fan, you might have issues with it, which I'm a huge fan, but I think it's cool that they revitalized the
absolutely
character.
I think it's well cast. So from my perspective, these are my takes or pushbacks. I think it's very well casting. Robert Downey Jr. was excellent, and that was the thing that appealed to me in the trailer already. His dry sense of humour really like appeals towards like who Sherlock Holmes was. That's something that's always run true. If I remember, I mean, I'm 30, but I still remember, essentially who he was. Then on the flip side, as well as Jude Law, like the chemistry, definitely, I agree. The chemistry was there and it was good. It was entertaining, and I think the only negative and the only setback for me and for a lot of people that I've spoken to, not necessarily all, but some, sorry, not all, some people have had problems with the fact that they have messed with the genre a bit in terms of it being too action-packed, in terms of it being, like you were speaking about deductive reasoning, not enough of that. Like Sherlock Holmes is all about that, not like this kung fu hero. In this one, he's quite skilled and talented with almost looks like martial arts. I would say to people, go see it even if you were a Sherlock Holmes fan, but just kind of understand and realise that it is being modernised. So from that perspective, go there with a clean slate, enjoy Robert Downey Jr. and enjoy the film. Because for me, it's definitely one to see. I would not say don't go see it. It was entertaining and action-packed. And the only negative thing for me was that there wasn't enough of Sherlock Holmes's mind, brain, and solving puzzles.
One of the ways one can measure a film is in its success, and I think he succeeded in terms of getting the audience to see it, because I don't think the fans of Sherlock Holmes nowadays are as loyal as any of the comic book characters like Superman or Batman.
I think it's two
generations or Lord of the Rings.
So.
There aren't enough Sherlock Holmes fans that are going to sway any kind of vote. And I think it's the opposite. I think it more so created
Sherlock Holmes protesters outside my window.
I think it created more of more of a positive reinvigoration of the Sherlock Holmes brand than it deterred.
So you weren't slightly.
So whereas Lord of the Rings,
not even slightly, but disappointed in terms of like that. Because I'll say another thing.
No, because I wasn't looking forward to the film.
Just to set up how brilliant he really is. Because like that, that massive thing. We're so used to this Hollywood thing where it's just fed to us like that. Don't you think it would have been nicer to have like these compartmentalized, like sort of little mini cases leading up to this big case, but showing like how clever he is at deducing and getting shortcuts.
If I have to further accentuate my analysis of the film and say, well, yes, I thought it was entertaining, I do think in terms of what you're saying, it could have been better. Like, I definitely think that. As opposed to a film like The Dark Knight or Avatar, I won't go, well, he could have done a little bit better, made Pandora more beautiful.
Okay,
so I do
agree
agree that it could have been better. I think Snatch is a better film. Personally, I preferred Snatch. I think this was more mainstream and more entertaining. I do agree that
he's crossed over.
There may be a couple of more masterful directors could have done a little bit of a better job. Like imagine Martin Scorsese tackling Sherlock Holmes. It definitely would have been
interesting. Last question I want to ask: how many of these films do you think they're going to make?
I think Hollywood's, in my opinion, in a golden age at the moment, making so many massive films, so many comic books. They're doing all the graphic novels and fantasy films and sci-fi films. They've got Avatar sequels and that. I don't think that they can make too many. I think they'll make one and maybe another one in a couple of years.
Okay, cool. But ultimately, Tyrone, what do you think? Go see it in a cinema, wait for it on DVD?
I don't think you've got a choice but to watch it on DVD or Blu-ray or however you want to watch it nowadays, because I think
unless you have a home cinema, you might want to go to a lounge.
Either way, if you're looking for an entertaining, action-packed film with a little bit of authenticity, because it's set in the late 1800s in London, this is a film that delivers. I think Robert Downey Jr. always delivers. I think it's a highly entertaining film. You won't be bored. Go watch it.
Yes, go see it in 3D.
Thanks.
Signing off.
How long do we record for?
Like 4 hours.